Hi, Jennifer from Scrapping Under the Influence. I am going to do an unboxing and a review of the new Cricut Maker 3. And I don't normally do that, but this, I'm really curious to see how this has changed. My cute purple maker that matched my room died several months ago. And because it had been a warranty replacement, like it had died like right at the beginning of the pandemic. It was ridiculous. They couldn't replace it a second time, unfortunately. So I'd been kind of on the fence if I was going to replace that one or just use my older maker that I got at the launch event when they first came out. What was that, like 4 years ago? And the reason I'd kind of hesitated was because that one works fine, but it doesn't open and close right anymore and hasn't for quite a while, which was how I ended up with the purple one that matched the room. So I did go ahead after a little bit of, trying to decide if I wanted to do this or not. I did go ahead and decide to get the Maker 3. So we are going to unbox this. We're going to go through what it comes with. We're going to go through the setup. And then I think we're going to do a side-by-side test cut between this one and the original and see how much, because supposedly this one's way quieter and way faster. So let's get started. All right, so let's get into this. Okay, so when you first get it open, we've got a little package here. And if this is like they've done the last few years on most of their stuff, this is going to have some directions and a material sample. So we've got a sample of their smart vinyl. So as you can see, this is wider than what you would normally see. Okay, normal vinyl's 12 inches. This is 13 inches. So this is where, with their smart materials, you can run these into this machine without putting them on a mat. If you've got scraps of this left that you're trying to use, then you would have to use a mat. But just to cut something, like when you have a roll of this, which I have a roll coming, it hasn't come yet. Thank you, Michaels. Actually, it was free with the Cricut from Michaels, so there you go. But you can feed this in without the mat. So, which that was one of the things with the Cricut Joy that I thought was incredibly cool was the smart materials, because it gave you some options where you didn't have to use a mat. And in fact, my logo that's on my wall back behind me, I did with the smart materials with the Joy. Okay, so the new one is a very pretty kind of light blue. It's very, very nice. That is completely plastic wrapped, so I'm going to set that aside and get the rest of the stuff out of the bottom of the box here. And move that out of the way. Oh, I've got more stuff in here. Hold on. Ah, there we go. We have our mat, cutting mat. We have, looks like some more of the smart materials. Oh no, this is not a cutting mat. I take it back. This is the, let's see. So you've got, let's see here, transfer tape, smart removable vinyl in black, smart iron-on, which I'm kind of excited to try that actually. And then this is their smart paper sticker cardstock. Let's try saying that 5 times faster after a margarita or two. So this is adhesive. So when you put your Cricut, the new Cricuts on the setting for this particular paper, it's going to cut just down through to this back layer, and then this cardstock that's on top here is sticky backed, so you can pull it up, put it directly on a project, which is kind of a cool idea. They had something similar with the Joy. They were like little, like 5 by 12 sheets. that, you know, were kind of neat, but it was not anything I was overly thrilled with. I tried it for a couple of things and the paper was really kind of stiff. This feels like much lighter paper. So I actually need to make some new labels for my drawers where my artisan cardstock lives, so I might do it with this instead of doing it with the label material. So let's get this opened up. So I'm going to just cut through that plastic in one spot. This plastic off. Okay. So it opens up just like the other maker. Let's get this little foam piece out of here. And I can tell you right off the bat something that they've done differently, other than the obvious with these little guides on the side. In fact, let me grab my old one and pull it in here kind of side by side so you can kind of see it. Other than it's caught in something over here. Oh, I think my Gemini's sitting on top of its cord. Okay, so we're going to unplug it. There we go. Okay. So here you've got the guides for the smart materials that don't need the mat. The normal Cricut mats do fit. So there's a normal mat. That still fits in there just like always. So anything that you would cut normally on the original maker will still cut just fine on this. There's a sensor here that there is not one of on the other Cricut, on the original Cricut. But the one thing, and then this little interior compartment is still the same. Okay. The one thing I am noticing here is, and there is not a box or anything with other pieces and parts in it. So the original maker came with both your fine point blade, okay, the fine point blade and housing, and it also came with the rotary blade for the fabric. The Maker 3 is not coming with the rotary blade, which if you have no intention of ever cutting fabric with it, then, you know, I guess it doesn't matter. Honestly, cutting fabric with it was one of the huge draws for me to this machine, and for it to not come with that little rotary blade, you know, with it being the same price point. And I mean, I get it does, you know, some other, it operates a little bit differently than the original. They've upgraded, you know, a lot of the housings and that kind of thing. Still, that, you know, kind of, not the best move in my opinion. But again, that's my opinion. So, you still have your rest area here for your iPad, if you're using it with the iPad. The buttons did change, so you still have your power button, you still have your load and unload and your pause. Instead of this button having the little Cricut icon, it now just has a play button very similar to what you see on pretty much everything as far as YouTube videos, things you're playing on your phone, anything like that. So they did change that little icon. You still have your two different little storage pockets here, one shallow one, one deep one. Other than that, not a whole lot looks like super different. So let me move that one back out of the way. I'm going to get this one plugged in because I think this actually is a completely different power supply than the original, because quite honestly, I think I've been using the same power supply regardless of which Cricut Maker I've had. In fact, I think I'm probably using the one from my Air when I had that originally. So let me get this undone. And I apologize, I am going to have to run around on the other side of the table to get this plugged in. Okay. go. This just plugs in the back here. Other one was hung up because that was really weird. I was rearranging stuff and moved my Gemini back onto the desk. And when I did, apparently, I put the thing it sits on top of the cord from the Cricut. Okay. So we are plugged in. Haven't turned it on just yet. Let's see here. Let's move our smart materials over here. We'll get our little test thing ready. And let me get Design Space up and running, and I'll be right back. Okay. So let's go ahead and get this set up. So I am just going to turn on the machine. And before it's going to let me do anything, I am going to need to connect the Maker to my Bluetooth. So you're not seeing that on your screen, but it's just through my settings on my Mac. So, all right. So let's go in here. And we are going to set up Maker 3. And we are going to do new product setup. So we've got a new cutting machine. We have the Maker 3. We know how far it needs to be from the wall. We know how to plug it in. We know how to connect the Bluetooth. So that much is all done. So it's going to run an update, which there really shouldn't be anything because it is a new machine. Oh, no, I guess there is something. So it's going to update. And you'll see that down here on the machine, this was red and now it's back to blue again while it's doing its update. And anytime the machine is updating firmware, that's what's going to happen, is you'll see that color change on that little power button. And that was the same on the other machine as well. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, so at this point, I have literally been sitting here fighting with this for 3.5 hours. I had to uninstall and reinstall Design Space. I kid you not. 4 separate times. I had to clear my browser history, clear my cache 3 different times. I have rebooted my computer no less than 6 times, and this time it finally magically decided to go ahead and update. I'm not even joking. I'm so over this at this point. Alright, so now supposedly we are set up and running. Okay, there we go. All right, so now it's going to let us finally do our test project. So we have to decide which one we're going to use. And I think I'm going to go ahead and do this sunflower. We're going to click next. Okay, my blade is in there. We haven't moved anything with blades or anything like that. Okay, smart vinyl is in. Okay, so then it's checking the material. And so far, this thing is incredibly quiet. Okay. Let's see how this goes. Okay, so I can tell you right off the bat where it's checking to see which tool is in here. That was much faster than it typically is. Holy cow, this is fast. I can tell you right off the bat, this is so much faster than the other one. Normally, to get it to go even close to that speed, you have to put it on fast mode. And a lot of materials, it doesn't necessarily, in a lot of settings, it doesn't necessarily like that. Okay, so we're going to go next, and then it tells us to press unload. Okay, and now we would peel up our sticker. So rather than like cut this piece that off of the sheet of vinyl, I am actually just going to pull this up because this is the removable vinyl. You know, this is not anything we would attach permanently. I had one little piece that didn't want to automatically stay there, so that's what it cut. It cut it flawlessly. And I think we're just going to put this little guy right here. Look at that. And that is very similar to the sticker that is on my Joy. Okay, so we're going to do a comparison here. We are going to have the Cricut write and draw this little label right here. We're going to do it with the 3, and then we're going to do it with the original Maker. So let's continue. It's connecting to the Maker. Smart paper, sticker cardstock. Everything is ready to go here. We'll line up our material. Feed it in. Okay. Alright, so it's going to go over there. It's going to think about it for a second. Alright, so we have our go button. I'm going to hit go and start on my little stopwatch app here. Okay, so it wrote that in 30 seconds. Okay, it's checking the tool. Now it's going to cut. And it's done. 54 seconds. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a piece off of this, stick it on a mat. Let me actually grab my scissors. And a cutting mat. We're going to stick that down. Okay. Now I'm going to grab the other Cricut. I'll be right back. Okay, so about ready to go with the old Cricut. So I'm going to come up here and change my machine. And we're going to go to make it. It still thinks it's a big project. It's one label. It's fine. Okay. So it is finding my Cricut, and we are going to find. So even though we're doing this on a mat, let me see here. How are we going to do this? So I'm going to do we're going to do mediums cardstock on this because I don't think it's any heavier than that. Because where it's not the Maker 3, it's not giving us the option of that exact material, which is fine. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and load this. Okay. And should we go ahead and put it on fast mode, or should we just let it go? I think we're just going to let it go. Okay, so we're going to try this on fast mode and not on fast mode. So let's switch the camera around and go. It's trying to hit the machine back there, but that's okay. Okay, again, this is just on the normal speed. This is not on fast mode, which is fine. We'll try it on fast mode to see how much of a difference there is there in just a second. Okay, so about 45 seconds to write. Okay, so 1 minute, 5 seconds. Take that out. Yeah, so that's exactly what you would do, is you would just put that on medium 80-pound cardstock, and that'll work just fine. So we're going to do this again. I'm going to go back to my machine. We're going to do fast mode this time. Okay, so let's see the difference here. Okay, so it took about the same amount of time to write. Okay, so we're going to cut. All right, so 55 seconds roughly. Not bad. But to get it to do that, I had to put it on fast mode. And I have to put it on fast mode every single time, and it doesn't always want to work with certain materials. The Maker 3 is cutting at that speed, or close to that speed, without you telling it to cut faster, which is really kind of cool. Okay, so yeah, doing the leftovers of this at the 80-pound cardstock did cut through just perfectly. So there we go. Quite pleased with it. Again, other than the setup issue that just took forever. But overall, I think this is going to be a good machine. So there we go. Thanks for watching, and you can always hit subscribe and hit the little bell if you want notifications every time I post a new video. Most of the time I do tutorials. I very rarely do unboxings, but every once in a while I feel like doing it. So thanks for watching, guys. See you later. Bye.